Total Retail, in partnership with Fidel, is proud to announce the release of its latest research report, Customer Loyalty in a Fragmented Retail Market: How Retailers Can Leverage Data to Create Long-Term Relationships with Their Customers. To download your copy of this report, go to mytotalretail.com/resources.
Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hi, I'm Joe Keenan, the editor-in-chief of Total Retail. I am joined today on this episode of Total Retail Talks with Chris McCann, who is the CEO of 1-800-Flowers.com, as well as Boaz Gaon, who is the CEO and founder of Wisdo. We're going to talk about a partnership between those two companies and the launch of their connection communities. And they're going to tell us a little bit about more about that program. So, Chris and Boaz, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having us,
Joe.
So let's start. I'm going to direct this one to you to start, Chris. Is tell our audience a little bit about connection communities and why at 1-800-Flowers.com you decided to launch this support program.
Sure. We're very excited, Joe, about the 1-800-Flowers Connection Communities, which is powered by Wisdo. It's a peer-to-peer support network to really help guide people through meaningful life events by connecting them with others around similar life experiences and around similar sets of experience that they've had. So, it's something that, as we look at our responsibility as the kind of company that we are, that helps our customers to express, to connect, and to celebrate all of life's moments, we kind of view it not only as an opportunity, but as a responsibility here to bring forth something beyond the transaction and how we engage with our customers and allowing our customers to engage with each other. So it really is stepping into a new age of retail, a new level of retail engagement. And we couldn't be happier that we found a partner like Boaz and Wisdo to really help us power this new endeavor of ours.
So I think, Chris, most in our audience, if not everyone, is familiar with the 1-800-Flowers.com business. They likely are not as familiar, Boaz, with Wisdo. So you give us a quick description of the company?
Absolutely. And let me just echo what Chris said. We at Wisdo couldn't be more excited and more honored to collaborate with 1-800-Flowers, one of the pioneers of sympathy-driven communities. And I think we're launching something super exciting. So Wisdo is an emotional wellness platform. We've been around for about 2 years. We won the #1 app on Google Play Award for 2019 in the social impact category, that impact being reducing online loneliness. We were chosen as one of the best 5 apps on Google Play for 2019. In the personal development category, we were featured 5 times on the App Store as App of the Day. The last time was yesterday, by the way. So, I just congratulated the entire team for our 5th App of the Day feature. And the reason I'm mentioning all these mentions is because we think that we've hit on something, and that is that in today's day and age, people are looking for a deeper sense of connection online. The first sort of magic of online communities was, wow, I can connect to anyone on earth pretty quickly. I think once that has been solved, people have been looking for quality connections online. And we found a very novel way to do that, which is to match someone with someone else, not necessarily because that person is a friend of a friend of a friend, which is how we're usually introduced to other people online, but rather to match you with someone who has been in your shoes, who is helpful and can really help you out, and is available to chat with you within seconds. And once we make those type of connections, which is what Wisdo knows how to do, what you find are conversations that are more meaningful than most of the other conversations that you can find online.
Yeah, that's a great kind of description of the company, which leads me into my next question. And I'll address this to you first, Chris, and Boaz, feel free to jump in if you have additional thoughts. But obviously, this support community online couldn't be more relevant than in today's day and age when we're all kind of dealing with the global pandemic of COVID-19. So kind of, Chris, talk a little bit about why a tool such as connection communities is probably more critical now, than ever.
Sure. As we look at this and as we worked on this launch with Boaz and his team, we really recognized this new step that we were taking as a company. And now it coincides with this new change that we're experiencing throughout the globe, really driven by this pandemic. And when you look at trends that were taking place even prior to this, and this driving the reason for us to build these communities, was that according to Cigna, 2 in 5 Americans say they sometimes or always feel that their relationships are not meaningful enough and they're isolated from others. Cigna also states that loneliness is seen as sharp rise across our country and quite frankly across the globe. And what is driving that loneliness? We don't really know all of it, but it's a lack of that social interactivity. And as a company, 1-800-Flowers, we believe that, and our vision is to inspire people to express and connect and to build that connectivity and to build relationships. And as we see what we're going through now more than ever with this pandemic and how it has changed things, we see that the need, as we've been driven into this sense of isolation in all the different countries, we've seen the human need for connectedness arrive and start to be even more important than people realized it was before. So we're seeing people reach out, looking for that expression, looking for that connection. And really what we're seeing is that there's an acceleration of things that were already happening, whether it be this loneliness trend or whether it be this, this need or lack of meaningful relationships. So doing this now, coincidentally, works very well for us, and it's something that we're proud to bring to our customer base.
Yeah, this is Boaz. So we're seeing the same type of phenomenon that Chris alluded to. There was a loneliness epidemic that most societies were experiencing predating the COVID-19 outbreak. Generations upon generations have grown to rely on online connections in communities that rank all of us by how popular we are, right? How many friends we have, how many likes we have. Are we writing things online that would be deemed as popular by other people? And I think that what has happened is that increased the sense of disconnectedness, despite the fact that we're living in the most connected era ever. What we've seen since the coronavirus outbreak is that trend accelerating tremendously. Depression has been on the rise, anxiety has been on the rise, pandemic anxiety has been on the rise. And I think that companies like us and like 1-800-Flowers, who are focused on bringing people together, have a unique opportunity to bring our assets to the table and maybe compensate for other solutions that are lacking. And I know that people online are looking for these type of solutions right now.
Research shows that people who feel more connected to others, they have a higher self-esteem, they have a greater empathy for others, and they're more trusting and have lower levels of anxiety and depression. So in other words, connectedness leads to an overall positive sense of well-being. And we're hopeful that we can add to that.
Yeah, and I think Boaz said it well when he mentioned that 1-800-Flowers.com is a brand that's bringing people together, which leads me into my next question for you, Chris, in terms of kind of the role and the feedback you've gotten from your customers, the conversations that you're having with them. How did that kind of play into the creation of the content communities?
Sure. So when we started to look in this direction and found a great partnership in Wisdo to go in this direction, we said, okay, what are the communities that are best for our customers to start with? And we looked at it and we dove in and did some deep customer analytics because, customers, we have a lot of information on our customers about the different occasions they're coming to us for, the recipients, the different types of recipients they're sending. So we can really dig in and understand that. One of the first areas of community, which was a no-brainer for us, and Boaz referenced this a little bit earlier, is around sympathy and coping with loss. Sympathy is a big part of our business. Customers turn to our flower business and our food gifts from Harry and David and our other brands to really express themselves in an expression of sympathy and condolence. But sometimes we need to give them more information. Like what's the appropriate practice for different religious communities or different ethnic communities, the best way to do that, and advice that we give them. So building a community where people could go beyond that and talk to other people who have been there and been through that and how they cope with a loss was a natural for us to offer. Another natural, because of the time that we're in, Joe, you mentioned, was to build a community around coronavirus anxiety. And then one of the others that people come to us for all sorts of relationships was a community around relationship advice. So those are three of the most popular ones that we're seeing out of the 8 that we've launched so far.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask a question, and I think it can apply to both of you. And I'll start with you, Chris, and then we'll flip it around to Boaz. But my question to you, Chris, is why is Wisdo the right partner for this initiative for your brand? And then conversely, Boaz, you could follow with why 1-800-Flowers.com is a ideal partner for your business.
So as we stepped back and looked at it and had one of our board members introduce us to Boaz and his team, as with everything that we do, and we've learned through the 40 plus years that we're in business now, and we learned this from my brother growing up actually in business as a social worker, that you build a relationship first and you do business second. And when we started to build a relationship with Boaz and the team, we saw the insight that they bring to this world that we're just moving into. And that to work with a team and a brand that is so like-minded to us, but coming at it from a very different approach, a very technology-driven approach to understanding human behavior and applying that to our celebratory ecosystem that we built, it just seemed like a natural marriage for us.
This is Boaz. Chris, thank you for saying those warm words, and I feel exactly the same. From the first meeting, it was very clear to us and our team that this is a joining of missions and minds. We looked at our mission, we look at 1-800-Flowers' mission, and they're very, very similar. More humbly, Chris and Jim McCann have been pioneering, novel strategies to take the retail world, several steps forward, and they've done it again and again and again in the past, 25 plus years. And what started with 1-800 and the whole concept of 1-800 numbers led into, online communities and online purchases and what eventually became, a $1 billion gifting company. And I think we have a lot to learn from how 1-800-Flowers were able to do that, and specifically how Chris and Jim were able to do that while still keeping intact their mission, which is all about bringing people together. So, we feel privileged. We feel that this is a huge opportunity. And I think that we're going to see more and more players in this field kind of following in Chris and Jim's footsteps, and not for the first time, trying to think more deeply about their role as companies, their role as organizations, not only in selling products, but also in bringing people together, because people need it now more than ever.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about kind of the management of the platform, and kind of maybe you can identify each of your roles. Chris, maybe you want to start and tell us a little bit about how involved 1-800-Flowers.com will be in kind of the management of the Connection Communities platform. And then Boaz, tell us a little bit about what you and your team will be doing.
Sure. So, Joe, I think our team will be involved in it. The 1-800-Flowers team will be intricately involved in it, but from a different direction. If we just look at how we both started, we relied heavily on Boaz and team really to drive the technology. They've been doing this for a long time, so we had to work with them, our IT team, to integrate the communities into our platform, but really riding on the back of the robust platform that the team has already built. Then the second step really is understanding and us leveraging off of communities and what they've learned from the different communities. So as we developed our 8 different communities, it was a combination of the customer analytics that I spoke about earlier, but also working with Boaz and team to get their advice on what they're learning, on what different people are looking for, so that we curated them appropriately. On an ongoing basis, we'll continue to work very well together, relying on the platform, the technology platform from the Wisdo team, but really looking at it from a customer platform management. That's where 1-800-Flowers will take the lead on our communities, but working very much in conjunction with the Wisdo community overall.
Yeah, so Joe, this is Boaz. I think what we bring to the table is first and foremost the technology, and that we've developed over 2-3 years, looking very deeply at how to create online communities very quickly that are deeper than what you would find elsewhere. We bring that to the table to integrate it with a high volume site like 1-800-Flowers to make sure that the experience of their customers is as is best as we can make it, but also working with the 1-800-Flowers team to share insights about what we're seeing in terms of what people are going through as they move from lockdown to whatever becomes the new normal. I think we're all going through that phase right now. I think that the type of granular insights that we can reflect back to 1-800-Flowers are going to be really interesting. Questions like, what's the top number one concern on people's minds on a week-by-week basis? What are the been there now, which is sort of data points that we gather on the platform that we use in order to match people to other people who've been there, that people click through as they join connection communities. Each and every one of those insights we feel is a fascinating insight that can influence additional marketing, community, business decisions that can benefit the company and their customers, and we're looking forward to doing that.
Yes, Boaz, I think a good example there is the coronavirus anxiety community that we launched as one of our first 8. It wasn't one of our first when we decided which communities to launch, but as we moved into this pandemic and Wisdo team launched a community on the Wisdo platform, and we got early learnings from that, we said, of course we need to put this in as one of our launch communities, but that wasn't part of our original design.
Kind of thinking and evolving as issues arise, as you talked about. So the final question I'll have of the two of you, and Chris, you alluded to this earlier when we kind of started this discussion, is that retailers and brands in this day and age need to be more than just sellers of products. It can't just be all about the transaction. There has to be kind of a value and a kind of a social responsibility behind the company. Do you want us to tell us a little bit about why you feel that's so important, and then kind of talk a little bit about how Connection Communities exemplifies that, as you mentioned earlier?
Sure, Joe, and Boaz is right on this as well with me. As I look at retail in general, I don't know that every brand needs to embrace this type of platform. Every brand needs to do what they can do in their local communities to participate and to help make the world a better place. And everybody gets that. And we're seeing more and more businesses and brands move in that direction. As a company, 1-800-Flowers and Harry and David and our other brands are always doing things, as for example, in this environment, donating lots of food to first responders and programs like that, part of our community connected platform. As we look at these specific connection communities that we're launching here with Wisdo, it's really taking us beyond that and taking us into a realm that fits with our brand and our vision to inspire more people to express themselves, to connect, and to celebrate all of life's everyday moments. And the more we do that, the better off society will be. And obviously, the better off we think our relationship with our customers will be. It moves from being looking at customer acquisition for us to really looking at relationship acquisition with our customers.
I think the concept of relationship acquisition is fascinating and quite brilliant. From our lessons over the past 2.5 years and 26 million conversations online, the online community and online users have really evolved, and if you will, have matured over the past 30 and 40 years. They are not looking for bland online conversations anymore. They're looking for quality, meaningful conversations that can help them feel better about themselves, raise their self-esteem, help them feel more socially supported. And I think that in this context, even though this field has traditionally been led by tech companies and social networks, I think companies that do have a mission of bringing people together really have an opportunity here to step up and own and shape the next phase of online conversations. And I'm very excited to do this together with 1-800-Flowers. Couldn't have hoped for a better partner.
Well, we're off to a great start with Boaz, so we're really looking forward to it.
Likewise, Chris.
Great. Well, I want to take this opportunity to first off thank Chris McCann and Boaz Gaon of Chris is of 1-800-Flowers.com and Boaz of Wisdo for joining me today, telling us a little bit about their peer support program that they've launched called Connection Community. So thank you, Chris, and thank you, Boaz.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please check out our podcast channel page at mytotalretail.com/podcasts for show notes. Total Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a few moments to rate and review this podcast. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Total Retail Talks.
Total Retail's latest research report, Customer Loyalty in a Fragmented Retail Market, offers insights into retailers' customer retention challenges, how customer data can help address that challenge, particularly data obtained in loyalty programs, the role that card linking technology can play in creating loyal customers through the collection of transactional data, and best practices for earning customer loyalty. To download your copy of this report, go to mytotalretail.com/resources.